Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and today we are going to talk about cultural stereotypes. Stereotypes about different cultures have been prevalent since the dawn of human history. Even if the ancient writings carved on the petroglyphs leave us into the dark as to what they mean, I can say with confidence and certainty that there are definitely some sort of cultural stereotypes involved, at least on some of them. So, what is a cultural stereotype? According to Easy Lama's definition, cultural stereotypes are oversimplified ideas or beliefs used to describe or represent a particular culture or a group of people. Now, let us explore stereotypes that are common in ancient civilizations and early societies, and how the stereotypes adapted over time. Stereotypes had a significant impact on power structures and many social hierarchies. Some civilizations that developed stereotypes are Egypt, Greece, and the Roman Empire. Ancient Egyptians believed that they were better in every way compared to their neighboring civilizations, which were the Persians, Nubians, which they have perceived as primitive and uncivilized. Likewise, the ancient Greeks had also preconceived notions about various civilizations and thought they were physically and cognitively superior to them. The Roman Empire was not an exception. They developed stereotypes about people they conquered, deeming them as inferior, useless, and barbaric. As communities interacted and shared ideas with each other through trade, conquest, and migration, these stereotypes changed and adapted over time. Stereotypes grew more intricate as empires rose and fell, and cultures intertwined with each other. Moving on, let's continue with stereotypes found in literature and art. Stereotypes found in ancient text, artworks, and literature often reflect the beliefs and values of the era. They often depict individuals and groups. In ancient Greece, male sculptures were idealized as warriors, while female sculptures were portrayed as delicate and passive. In China, Confucian texts emphasized
Filial
filial
piety.
piety, while Indian literature like Ramayana depicted women as kind and caring. Now that that's finished, we can continue to examine various stereotypes during the medieval and Renaissance era. Stereotypes in the Middle Ages and Renaissance greatly influenced society's views and ideals. Changes in beliefs like humanism, the Reformation, and the discovery of new planets had revolutionized society. Stereotypes were common in literature and took shape of stock characters that represented the chivalric ethics of patriarchal society. Humanism concepts gained traction through the Renaissance, which resulted in the development of more refined personalities. Traditional assumptions were questioned by artists such as Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, who displayed originality and realism. Additionally, stereotypes were employed in theaters to entertain audience and pass on moral messages through allegorical characters that symbolized traits that some people possessed. However, as society developed, more complex and refined plays like Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, which challenged conventional gender norms, rose to a surface. Stereotypes generally illuminated shifting social structures, values, and beliefs. Now onwards to the stereotypes in media during the 19th and early 20th centuries. We are going to discuss how these stereotypes impacted society. Stereotypes in literature, films, and advertisements were vital in forming public perceptions in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Racial inequalities were heavily reinforced in American ads from the late 19th century by the frequent use of cards that portrayed a black woman as a servant or worker, while a white woman as the ideal customer. In order to further maintain elitism, high culture frequently positioned itself as superior to popular culture. Furthermore, racial stereotypes were frequently portrayed, which strengthened societal division. These prejudices had a significant effect on society. For example, supporting pre-existing power systems can marginalize particular groups. In order to further equality in modern society, it is imperative that these prejudgments be looked at and refuted. In our current day and age, we have many stereotypes about every culture around the world. Stereotypes in films, television, and popular culture have evolved over time, reflecting social attitudes and norms. In the mid 20th century, cultural stereotypes were widespread in Hollywood movies, with black characters often confined as background or villain roles. However, these conceptions gradually started to shift. Now, black characters can play the role of being a hero too. Other racial stereotypes have also been a well established issue. Chinese people are stereotyped as dog eating, small eyed, weirdly accented maths wizard, while in fact, most of these claims are untrue. Chinese people can also speak English well and without a strong Chinese accent, and the most of us don't even eat dogs, while African Americans can be heroes too. However, these there are effort made in order to correct these stereotypes. The evolution of stereotypes in modern media is an ongoing process requiring both effort to make and create a more inclusive and diverse cultural landscape. Well, to sum up everything we have discussed so far, we first discussed how cultural stereotypes can seem to have an effect on social hierarchies and how ancient civilizations such as the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans developed stereotypes about people they have conquered. Secondly, we went through how ancient artworks and literature stereotypes reflected in the beliefs and values of the era, defining groups' identity and justifying certain ideals while marginalizing others, and about the Middle Ages to the Renaissance era. Lastly, we talked about in the late 19th and early 20th century, racial inequalities were reinforced through poor advertising and popular cultures, thus strengthening societal division. Understanding the historic context of stereotypes is crucial for challenging them in the modern society, especially in a modern landscape. It helps us recognize the deeply ingrained nature of stereotypes about cultures and their interconnectedness with power dynamics and their ability to be socially constructed. By tracing their roots, we can challenge biases and assumptions that continue to shape present stereotypes. Recognizing the evolution of stereotypes allows us to challenge and redefine them, recognizing that they are not fixed to a certain culture. This knowledge can create effective strategies for challenging the stereotypes. For example, promoting accurate representation, encouraging empathy, and engaging in dialogue with multiple cultures can also encourage empathy and cultural sensitivity, reminding us that stereotypes can have a far-reaching consequences on individuals and communities. Thank you for sticking around until the end, and I hope you have a wonderful day ahead. Oh yeah, there's also references. If I was wrong or made any errors, you can contact me and I'll get the mistake done immediately.